Again, we'll just wait for everybody to show up, and then we'll be good to go, guys. So hopefully that restarting of the computer solved some problems. I'm seeing that that's going good, so that's good. I need to completely disable that microphone. So as soon as the birthday boy shows up, we will be ready to rock and roll.
Birthday? Is it his birthday?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know if it's birthday.
I didn't hear about this.
All right, ladies and gents, we'll be back. I want to read the intro again because this is a brand new separate stream, so I'll read the intro again. We had some technical difficulties. Inshallah, you guys can hear and see us okay now. Type 22 if you can hear and see us, no problemo.
A total and complete yes stream tonight for the big homie Nick.
Emily in the house. Lisa in the house. Where's Amy? I don't want to start until Amy comes back. Okay, here it is, guys. Here is. Hopefully, when I get done reading this, Amy will be back. Okay, here it is. Yes, no disgrace. For this stream, I thought I'd take you guys on a deep dive into a band that you guys have reacted to a few times before. But the name of the band is Yes. This band is considered by many to be the greatest prog rock band of all time, and the following 5 songs are usually most often brought up in that discussion. The first 2 songs are off of Yes's 3rd studio album, the Yes album, and the last 3 songs make up their 5th studio album, Closer to the Edge, which is considered to be the greatest prog album ever made, with, as previously stated, only 3 songs on the entire album. The title track of that album is considered to be the greatest prog song ever made as well. The classic lineup of this band consists of vocalist John Anderson, guitarist Steve Howe, bassist Chris Squire, keyboardist, organist Rick Wakeman, and drummer Bill Buford. All 5 of them are superb musicians, singers, and songwriters in their own right. Sadly, Chris Squire died of cancer in 2015, and the band's second drummer, Alan White, passed away earlier this year. Enjoy the 5 masterpieces by one of the most revered musical acts in rock history. That was the big homie Nick giving us a little preview about the band that we're about to listen to. And here we go. Song number 1, Yours Is No Disgraced by the band Yes. Let's do this shit.
Yesterday a morning came, a smile upon your face. Caesar's palace, morning glory, silly human race. On a sailing ship to nowhere, leaving any place. If the summer changed to winter, yours is no disgrace. Yours is no disgrace. Yours is no disgrace.
was song number 1. As Ramsey says, these changes from melody and vocals to just an explosion of the sound is the best. Yeah, man, these guys, Space Delver, I understand, bro. You're a metalhead. You want the chug-a-lug-a-lug-a-lug stuff immediately. My brother, we've got literally over 2,000 videos. The vast majority of which are beg, I hate my life.
Just click on one of those and pretend that we're live.
If you want to see like hardcore metal, go for it. But the design of this particular
evening
structure is so that we can get access to music that is not, standard on reaction channels, so that we can get a broader palette of music. So,
yeah.
I understand, I get it, I hear you, but this is where we're at, and I love it. I love it. Metallica, Tool, what's the other band with the kiddies, raps and stuff? Those are all really good too. Okay. The lyrics contrast soldiers suffering versus people partying in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
So that's the dichotomy.
So this is 1971, and when it was talking, which
that would be
apparently
Vietnam.
Vietnam went from 55 to 75.
That would be 71 to be Vietnam. I thought Vietnam was done in 74, but okay, 75.
Well, I'm looking over here.
Okay, so yesterday a
April
morning
of 75.
came, a smile upon your face, Caesar's palace, morning glory, silly human race. On a sailing ship to nowhere, leaving any place in the if the summer changes to winter, yours is no disgrace.
Oh.
I don't know what that means. If the summer changes to winter, yours is no disgrace.
Oh, I assumed that it meant because Vietnam, they were drafted, right?
Yeah.
Was that the draft? Yeah. And so when it said, if summer changed to winter, yours is no disgrace, I just took that as, like, if this whole endeavor that we're going on...
Hold on for a second. Hey, is everything okay? Nope, I'm working right now. Nope, I called you when you were working, you call me when I'm working. I love you. Bye. Okay, go ahead.
I just took that as, like, if summer changed to winter, yours is no disgrace. As in, like, when they first went out, like, you know how there's, like, that, oh, I'm going to be a soldier. Like, even though they were drafted, like, there still was, like, that beginning excitement. Like, maybe this is going to be whatever. And then it turned out to not be that way. And it turned out that they were engaging in things that a lot of them had a hard time dealing with when they came back. So I thought when it said, if summer changed to winter... yours is no disgrace. It just meant that if this whole thing kind of goes south and you're experiencing it differently than you thought, it's not like it's not to your disgrace. Like because they were like dishonored when they came back and stuff. I thought this was just like the band's way of saying like it wasn't your fault. You know what I mean? Like those people, they were drafted. They kind of went and if it changes, it's not your disgrace.
He
It's on
says,
the people who sent you.
battleships confide in me and tell me where you are. Shining, flying, purple wolfhound, show me where you are. Lost in summer, morning, winter, travel very far. Lost in musing circumstances, that's just where you are. Death-defying, mutilated armies scatter the earth. Crawling out of dirty holes, their morals disappear. Which, I mean...
I didn't see the party part.
Huh?
Because somebody was saying that it contrasts like those that are in the war and those that are partying.
Well, he's talking about Caesar's Palace, which is where people party. It's in Las Vegas. It's a party place. So he mentioned Caesar's Palace right there. That's what people do at Caesar's Palace is they party. It's a big fun thing.
Know what that was.
Meanwhile, you got these 18 and 19-year-old kids getting shipped off to nowhere. So that makes a lot of sense, like that contrast. But I talk about that a lot. When people talk about Nazi Germany and how everybody judges that entire country and that entire time period of people, when in reality if you're an American, you know that our country has been beating the shit out of people for the last 20 years. And for the most part, most of us just go through life unaffected. So we're kind of, it's still relevant today because, you know, America itself is Caesar's palace. I know people, you know, the economy and all this and that, but the vast majority of people in America have never really been in a third world country, so they don't get it. You know, Americans are traumatized if the light goes off or whatever. For the most people on the planet, that's just a regular day, and they don't feel sorry for themselves about it.
Yeah.
I took a visit to Jamaica one time, and there was, you know, we were out in the country is what we used to call it. And there was nothing. There was no electricity. You know what I'm saying? It was just, you went out, played all day. When it got dark, it got dark. You know, there was candles and all types of shit. You know, there was I think it was a kerosene lamp. But
really?
Yeah. And, you know, it was fine. Nobody... So my point is like the basic standard of living that you're used to in America it is Caesar's palace, while the rest of the world is suffering, and a lot of it is under our boot. So the context here is like, oh, you got people partying while there's these kids getting shipped off to other countries to fight for shit they don't even believe in, which that kind of irony is crazy, but the contrast is still there because we're still partying here while, number one, you got people all over the world from our country that are going to places they don't want to go, but also the suffering of the people that are there based on what we've done. Like it's a fascinating song to look at. Battleships confide in me and tell me what you are. That's a good line because, you know, that's like literally like top secret information where the battleships are. So it's saying battleships confide in me and tell me where you are, which is kind of an interesting dichotomy because, I mean, everybody experiences that at some degree, like the need for secrecy. So I was just listening to this guy. He was in Kuwait and they were rolling up to go into Iraq. And the way that his girl found out about it was on the news, because obviously that's not something you can say. You know, by that time, after a workup and everything, like, you can't even talk to your family anyway. It's time to go. But so that itself is a very interesting. I don't know if interesting is a word.
So what happened?
But when
she
he
found out that way?
Yeah, she found out on TV, just like everybody else. But I do think it creates a certain, like, if you have all these significant moments in your life, which when people go to war, like, anything you see there are going to be the most significant moments in your life.
Ugh.
But there's a whole, like, part of you that you cannot talk about. You know what I'm saying? Because you're about to go into it. So, like, the battleships confide in me line was pretty crazy because I was like, damn, like, dudes are, like, that shit is real. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, at some level, you're going through these incredible experiences, but you don't. And then obviously when dudes get home, you ain't trying to talk about that shit, bro. Like, yo, I just shot this dude in front of his son. Like, you're not gonna have that conversation. So that, like, that's a crazy line. That's a crazy line to me. Battleships confide in me because it's personifying.
Is he asking them to confide in him so then he can stay safe if he knows where the battleships are?
I don't think so. Battleships confide in me, tell me where you are. Shining, flying, purple, wolfhound, show me where you are. Lost in summer morning. Yeah, I just think it's just talking about, like, all the things that are going on down there. When he says yours is no disgrace, it looks to me like he's talking about the people caught up in the war. Because he talks about, you know, your morals disappearing. Mm-hmm. You know, which there are very few. A lot of the morality that you think is universal really isn't. But one of the moralities that tends to be universal is the not killing people. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot for people to kill other people. So when it talks about your morals disappearing, even if you're not, like, obviously as a Christian, there's a lot of thought about morality and things like that, because the whole premise of the religion is that because we're unable to meet certain moral criteria, God has to come and save us from ourselves, our own self-inflicted consequences, and the wrath of God itself. But most people, even if you're not thinking about morality, most people, like, in their minds, like, that's the hard stop, killing another human being. So when you jump out of the hole and says your morality disappears, that's contravening that ultimate taboo, which is killing another human being. And you have to make that side of yourself disappear, or otherwise you're not going home. And then you think to yourself, okay, I won't go home, and that's fine. But then your buddy's not going to go home.
Yeah.
And that's worse than you not going home. So then your morality disappears, which one of the ways to kind of reconcile that is to say that your morality didn't disappear, because if you didn't kill that guy, he would have killed your buddy, and your ultimate morality is for your buddy and for your country. And so killing that guy is not contravening your own personal morality, because you're doing it to defend your friend or your whatever. And I think that makes a lot of sense logically, but I don't know. It's kind of hollow, I think, because at the end of the day, when you're hanging out with your kids, there's another dude that can't hang out with his kids, and it's because of you. So, people come up with all types of shit to say,
to justify it and make themselves feel better or make other people feel better.
Another thing that I'm like, there's a lot of social media now, so you go off and do shit to somebody, the aftermath of what you did is there for everybody to see. And that's a completely different set of issues to have to work through.
Wow.
That a lot of people also have a very hard time with.
Yeah.
Because, so there's a lot of interesting things about this entire situation. I don't know what language that is, but it sounds cool, Michelle. So that was an interesting, and also sonically, like the music was okay. The music was okay to me. I remember Roundabout. Roundabout was almost like a space journey or something like that. This one was okay. I'm not a big fan of progressive. Everybody knows that. I don't like progressive music, because I feel like they just drag the shit out for no reason. I didn't feel like that here. Like, obviously, these guys have completely mastered the craft, like, completely. And I also love that vocalist. They've got a really interesting vocal sound.
Yes, he definitely has an interesting sound to him. I felt like something about it, and I don't know if it was the vocal style or what it was musically, like something about it made me sad, like something of the past being lost. I can't describe it other than saying that.
Yeah, it definitely had that dated feel for sure.
Okay, but did it feel sad to you?
No. I it didn't seem sad to me at all. I was just trying to, like, zero in on the lyrics and figure out what he was saying, because they were kind of like, I think it's Nick's point. To Nick's point, it was they were appositional. It was like, this guy's going off to war. You're in Caesar's palace. What's the connection? And then he's talking about the silliness of the human race, which is a very fascinating concept, especially if you take an idealist approach, which basically says that everything is mind and matter doesn't exist. So you're literally killing people for something that doesn't even exist in ultimate reality. You're fighting for resources, and you're fighting for land and all these other things, but if the idealists are right, and I think they are, none of that actually truly exists anyway. So you're literally killing another person over nothing. But then you have to ask the question, okay, well, if matter doesn't exist, then what does it mean to kill a person? That's a serious question. Like, if the idealists are right and everything is mind and all the physicality that you see is just a projection or whatever, then why is it bad to kill another person?
But isn't that because even if you're just coming from that position, they're more than just matter.
Well, you can't be more than just matter, because matter doesn't exist. So you can't be more than something that doesn't exist. So all they are is consciousness.
Right.
Right. Like red doesn't like the color red doesn't exist. No, like this desk doesn't really exist. It's a projection in your mind. It's not really there, is what an idealist would say. So
But
it's
a
not.
human being is not that. A human being is not a projection in your mind.
Well, your physical.
There's something aside
your
from
physical
you.
body is. So when we talk
Yeah.
about killing somebody, all I'm talking about is killing a person's physical body, but there's no such thing as an actual physical body. So my point is, from an idealist perspective, what's wrong with killing another person? That's my question. I think that's a fascinating question, and I don't think that I haven't heard Bernardo talk about that, but that is an interesting question, because you see the problem. The physical body really doesn't exist, so what's the point? What's the problem with destroying it? It's not really there in the first place. It's just a projection. In the same way that the color red doesn't really exist. None of that shit really exists. They're projections of your.
But if life is, we're talking not as Christians. We're just talking regular. Like we're talking.
No, I'm talking about an ideal. I'm talking about an idealist.
Okay.
Like everything is mind.
So but if everything is mind, part of the reason why we have this experience in life is so we can understand certain things about ourselves and about the consciousness that we originated from, correct?
Well, no. I mean, that doesn't. That would be one way to interpret that, but that's certainly not Bernardo's.
What's the purpose for? What do you mean? I thought that's what he said.
No, but look, there's no purpose for existence. Is that the mind at large is trying to understand itself, and you are a result of his basically multiple personality
Well, then I think that's
disorder.
a good question. And what's the harm?
So what's the harm in actually taking or really just ending the illusion of the physical compartment of a person?
Yeah, because I'm sure the greater consciousness can learn something from that. So.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, that's kind of a dangerous way of looking at that.
Yeah, it's a fascinating question. It's a fascinating question.
Okay.
Shout out to St. Petersburg, Florida. Okay, this is a solid 8 for me. What do you give it?
I would match an 8. Yeah.
All right, Stormtrooper. I'm glad to see that we make you happy. Hello, Vin and Sori. I'm here after watching your reaction to the Disturbed A Reason to Fight. I had thoughts of suicide. I have now been clean for 9 months. That is badass. Congratulations,
yeah.
sir. Well done. Well
Wow.
done. Staying clean ain't easy. Look at that. 9 months. That's like you basically, you're reborn, bro. If you think about it.
Oh,
Huh?
yeah.
See what I did there? 9 months. Pregnancy.
I like that.
We got more yes on the way, bitches. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Go. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
9 months. That's real shit. That is real shit. Okay, guys, commercial break. We shall return. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes.
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that
can
off.
also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee,
Can't
a
guarantee
positive
you
review.
A positive review.
Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy buy our merch indeed, and a child shall lead them. To buy our merch, just waiting on Vinny to arrive. We have Yes, Perpetual Change is the next song on the list. In the meantime, I'll pull up the lyrics and then chat with you guys. The crazy things about doing this YouTube channel is like you shoot videos and you shoot them one time and then they go up online and they can be viewed hundreds, thousands of times. And so you end up saying something in a review that you don't even remember saying. But then it ends up helping somebody somewhere, someplace. And it's like, it's just crazy to see like something that you did once just kind of take off and be able to still help people even when you're not like still currently doing it. Like we're obviously not shooting that video still. So I don't know. It's always encouraging when people let us know stuff like that because
we don't take it for granted.
we don't. We really don't.
We don't take it for granted. I mean, we don't come with an agenda to, whatever. But one of the things that was fascinating to me almost immediately was people reacting that way. But then it kind of makes sense because, metal and the music that we all love is extremely emotive. And all of us kind of fell in love with this music because we had issues or have issues. Obviously, I'm a Korn kid, so that's absolutely on purpose if you caught that. So it makes sense, that we would all have issues that we're going through. But it's mind-boggling to me that, just us sharing the things we've gone through and, the ways which we've tried to see the bright side of things has been helpful. See, that's the big thing that a lot of you guys don't understand is that you guys, just like we've helped you guys for sure, you guys need to accept that you guys have helped us out as well. You've helped us understand cultures and subcultures that we haven't been familiar with, yada yada yada. So there's a lot of back and forth, which when you meet your favorite band, that's usually they say the same thing. Okay, guys, here we go.
And I've said this before, but you guys helped me in a way that like I feel like I would never be able to fully express or describe. But I was in a bad place spiritually, and then like being a part of the channel and being a part of a community with other people that understood that like not every experience people have as a part of a church is a good experience. And sometimes it can be really painful, but then kind of like being able to see that there are different ways to experience spirituality. And like a lot of the songs people would be like at the beginning, stop talking about your God, but like the lyrics brought us there. So it was just cool to see that there are different ways to experience and express spirituality and to journey. Like there are different ways to pray. Like some of the lyrics have been like just straight prayers, but most Christians would be like, that is unacceptable because of the way that it was packaged or what it sounded like. But anyway, so thank you to you guys. Like it. One day you guys will understand how important you were
to us for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, guys.
All right, Perpetual Change.
Perpetual Change by the band Yes. Let's go! Hey, Zombie Holic, 4 days till surgery. Remind me so we can pray for you. All right, here we go. Yes. Perpetual Change. Is there an intro for Perpetual
And Zombie
Change?
Holic, if there's something that you need that would make something a little bit easier from Amazon, email vinandsori@gmail.com and let Vinny know so we can just send us the link from Amazon. Can help you out, hopefully. So.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously, zombie. Let us know if there's anything we can get you. We'll be on that shit for show. Okay, here we go, guys.
What did you just ask me?
I was gonna see if there was a write up.
No, there's not.
Isn't.
That was
All
the
right.
only thing.
Perpetual change. Yes, let's do it. Varpy's like, this is a cult. I'm leaving. Leave. Leave while you have the opportunity, sir.
Go now! Flee!
Wow.
I see the cold mist in the night and watch the hills roll out of sight. I watch in every single way, inside out, outside in, every day.
Oh,
The
sounds so
sun
old.
can warm the coldest dawn and move the movement on the lawn. I learn in every single day, inside out, outside in, And one peculiar point I see as one of many ones of me. As truth is gathered, I rearrange inside out, outside in, inside out, outside in, perpetual change. Say we
Perpetual Change. Just go from right to left. See your left ear now?
Okay. All right.
That
So I
was
figured
Perpetual
out
Change.
why I said the last Yes song that we listened to, I was like, there's something sad about them that I can't like put my finger on.
Okay.
So when the song, like the first 75% of the song, before it did like the last like two or three changes, like the majority of the song, what that was, the way that song, first of all, it sounded very dated. Like it seemed like it was kind of like set back, in a good way. Like I loved the sound of it. And then as he was singing it, and as the notes were coming across, how the song made me feel emotionally is the same way I feel in real life when I know like I'm in a moment. Like, you know how you hit like a moment in your life and you're like, yo, this is a moment. Like, this is one of those things. This is a pivotal moment. And then it's one of those things that you look back at a lot because it really was a moment.
Yeah.
So have you ever been like that when...
Yeah,
okay.
I've had a couple of those.
Okay, so when that happens, like the way that makes you feel, because, well, you can never return to that moment except through memory. So, like, those moments when I recognize they're happening, they always make me sad because I'm like, okay, this will be done, and then all it will be is a memory of this moment, even though this moment is so, like,
Okay.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So the song itself, the beginning of it, that's how it made me feel. It made me feel like the same emotion. Like, I didn't necessarily feel like listening to the song was a moment. I feel like that would have been a really cool take. But listening to the song was cool, but it reminded me of the same emotion that I felt during the song was what I feel during one of those moments. So it was kind of interesting, which kind of makes it sound like that was a moment, but okay, it's getting too much. Anyway, so yeah, so like I recognized that feeling, and then I was like, okay, that's what makes me kind of feel sad, and all of it just sounded so. Then they did those switches, and I just felt like for the first time that I can consciously really focus on it, I don't like the switches like that because I was so happy with the first 75.
Yeah, but the name of the song is Perpetual Change.
I know, and that's what makes it so it kind of has to be like that.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't have a song that doesn't change and talk about perpetual change. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of stuff going through my mind looking at the lyrics of this song, which later Emily, I think. That's one of the main reasons that rhythm change was out of nowhere. There was no progression. There was no sort of like
completely shocking. Yeah,
it just but like that is where the music emulates the lyrics because it's talking about how change is perpetual. So how could you look at those lyrics and then be like, yep, we're gonna stay with the same? Like it makes complete sense that they would do such a seemingly random rhythm change. Okay, I'm gonna read this thing and then we'll go into the lyrics. Quantum physics has many theoretical arguments that have raged for over a century, but among its greatest pioneers, Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg, stated that nothing in nature, not just the red light, but all the basic stuff in creation, such as electrons and photons, cannot be proven to exist unless someone looks at them. So that was that's an interesting take, because if you say it's like saying, whenever I walk into a room the red light is on, and so a person says, well, yeah, the red light is always on. You go, well, how could you test that? How could you test if the red light was always on? Well, the only way to test if the red light was always on is to look at it. But then if you look at it, what they're saying is your looking creates the light itself.
Then it's not as crazy that kids cover their heads when they're scared.
Right, because maybe they figured it out. That is so fascinating that you said that. Wow. I'm going to have to think about that for a long time.
It is.
So essentially, it's like basically Niels Bohr and the rest of, they were arguing that nothing really exists outside of an observer.
Yeah.
And obviously the Christians took that and said, well, then how the fuck is the universe still spinning around then? Somebody's got to be outside of the universe observing it for it to continue.
We have an answer.
So that's a very, very, very fascinating concept. That's a very, very fascinating concept. But it has a lot of implications when you look at the lyrics of this song. So here are the actual lyrics to the song.
I see the cold mist in the night, and I watch the hills roll out of sight. I watch in every single way, inside out, outside in, every day. The sun can warm the coldest dawn and move the movement on the lawn. I learn in every single day, inside, outside, in every way. That's so funny. We used to have a book, Inside, Outside, Upside Down. Mm-hmm. And there you are, making it up that you're sure that it's a star when all you see is an illusion shining down in front of me.
See? Uh-huh. And he's saying you're making it up. So there's a lot of ways you could look at that. You could say you're making it up in the sense that you don't really know what you're looking at, and you know that you don't know what you're looking at, but you're saying something because you don't want to leave it. Like we have those arguments. I'm like, where'd you get that from? You just made that up. So I'm like, so when he says like you're making it up, I was like, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about. But then I was like, yeah, but if I went like the quantum route, then it would literally be true that you're literally making it up as you observe it, which is a really mind-boggling concept to me, that there are people who are trained in actual science that are saying this and believe this.
I know.
It's truly an insane concept to me.
Yeah, but
that's a real thing.
As like coming from a Christian standpoint, wouldn't that destroy that? Because God is always watching everything. Therefore, everything is always being observed. So it doesn't need me to look at it for it to happen. It's already happening.
Right, God's looking at the moon. Right, so the moon is there whether you're looking at it or not.
So then doesn't that destroy the whole?
No, because it still says that
I'm
the
talking
moon.
about that experiment specifically that they did. It was not being observed, and then when it was, it started doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was already being observed by God before that.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. So then, what's the effect of the observer? Yeah, that's really fascinating. There's just so many questions relative to quantum physics that has a lot of implications for everything. So he says you're making up as you're going along, and then that was a crazy line. That's why I found this quote about the whole Einstein situation. He once walked back from the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton with the late Abraham Peiss. The moon was out, and Einstein asked Peiss, "Do you really believe the moon is out there when you're not looking at it?" So, there are literally people, very intelligent people, that's what they believe. I've mentioned Don Hoffman a couple times, mentioned Bernardo Castro a couple times. Like, it's mind-boggling to me that that's out there. Like, to me, when I first heard of it, I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then I started reading, and, reading all these position papers. I'm like, yo, how is this not, like, the front page of everything? Like, this, to me, like, changes your entire outlook on stuff. But, I don't know. It's very, very interesting. One peculiar point I see as one of the many ones of me, as truth is gathered, I rearrange inside out, outside in, perpetual change. So that one is not necessarily talking about, science and all the rest of it. It's talking about the change within himself, which is funny because, when we're chilling with the guys, he was asking about my 9,000 names that I have. It's like, why do you have so many names? And I was like, well, this and that, and this and whatever. And then I talked about one of them, and I talked about my experience.
If you're listening and you don't know what he means by just saying that, he didn't give much more detail in the actual moment either. You're like, so.
I have a lot of names. Like, people on the planet, if they saw me, certain people, if they saw me, they'd call me this. Another group of people would call me that. I was just on the phone with my best friend from way, way back in the day. He calls me this. So I was explaining that, and as explaining one of my names happened after a crazy event, and he was like, "Whoa, I love that! It's like you were reborn," that type of thing. So people rearrange themselves and reinvent themselves all the time, but one of the things that I think about is I'm looking at Orion.
He's 3.
And I'm like, yo, he was that little spinny. I wish I could find that video, bro, because that video is crazy to me to be like, yo, that was my.
It should be pretty easy. Just look in your videos from.
That was my child.
2018.
Yeah, from 2018. And he was spinning around. And
they brought in this tiny little machine, it was this big. And they were going to check to do a quick ultrasound in the room, but she's like, these don't come out super clear, so we're not sure what we're going to really see. And then she put the little thing on me, and we immediately saw, she was like, oh my God, right there. That's baby right there. And he was, I don't even understand. On the little display, it looked like he was no bigger than a grain of rice.
Yeah.
But he must have been a little bigger than that. I don't know. He was just tumbling, just spinning. And then even the doctor laughed because she hadn't seen a baby doing that before.
Yeah.
He was just going around and around like he was doing, I don't know.
Yeah.
But why? What's the reason for that? And so Vinny took out his phone and recorded that little screen. So that's the video he's talking about.
Yeah, but when you talk about perpetual change, it's yo, that's the whole concept in philosophy that people are trying to unify. Like, on the one hand, that kid in that bed right now looks nothing like what I saw on that, but like he's still the same being.
Yeah.
And then people say things like, yo, I'm the same person I was, blah, 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 but I'm not. I'm not the same person I was.
No. Yeah.
So then you think to yourself, like, well, okay, then what makes you you? Because your body's always changing. I don't look the way that I looked 30 years ago. He doesn't look the way that he looked. Your body's always changing. Your personality changes. There isn't anything about you that's observable that isn't subject to change, including your voice.
Yeah.
So then you say, but what makes you you then? What is it about you that makes you you as distinct from somebody else if every observable aspect of who you are and what you are changes? That's a fascinating question. Now, obviously, having this third category, spirituality, you then say, yeah, because all of these things are things in this dimension or whatever. The true self is in your true self is your spirit, and that's what makes you you, and that's not subject to change relative because it's not bound by the physical laws of the universe. Whereas your personality, even though it's a metaphysical concept, your personality is influenced by the things that go on in the material world. So, for example, you could say Susie's a nice person, she has a nice personality, but if she has a migraine headache, she might be not as nice. Or if she has PMS, she might not be as nice, right? Because that's a physical thing in the world that's affecting her metaphysical personality. So what I would say is, the first time I'm thinking out loud, your spirit is something that is not affected at all by any of those things, and that is the thing about you that makes you you. That's the thing about you that's constant.
What? No, you just said your spirit is not affected by those things?
Yeah, I don't think it is. It's not. Like, you cannot change a spirit based on physical issues.
I think you're wrong. Think of somebody that experiences suffering. There was that pastor, he used to get gout, and he said that it affected his...
Spurgeon.
Didn't he say that specifically, that it affected his... I mean, look at somebody who has a physical ailment for extended periods of time, and they become bitter and angry spiritually.
I'll modify it, but the difference is it doesn't permanently change it, whereas in this, your personality can be permanently changed. It will be permanently changed.
Are you saying the nature of your spirit? Is that what you're saying?
All I'm saying is the part of you that you say is you, that you're carrying on from the moment you were conceived till the moment that you die. When you say, I am me, what I'm saying is, what does that mean? Because the physical aspect of you is constantly changing. The psychological aspect of you is constantly changing. The emotional, all of these things are in flux. And if you look at point A versus point Z, many times they're unrecognizable. So that's the thing. It's like, okay, so then what is it about a person that makes them is what I'm exploring.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that I think what we call the spirit is that, because while the spirit can be affected, it doesn't get permanently changed by anything in the physical world.
And why do you need that? Why do you need something that doesn't change to be who you are?
Because how are you saying that you are an individuated person when everything about your being is in constant flux and is not recognizable when you put one to the other? So how are you? What about you is the same? Like, are you the same person are you the same being you were when you were 5 years old?
Well, yes. I say yes, you're the same being. Like, you are going to change. Aspects of you are going to change. I mean, that's, I think, why we even have the concept of the inner child, is because you are still that person. There are aspects of your person that is changing and is growing and can be getting worse.
What do you mean you're that person? If I were to say you're acting like a 5-year-old, you'd be insulted. You wouldn't say, yes, I'm a 5-year-old.
No, but if you said... If you see a picture of yourself at 5 and you say, that's you, that is you.
Why are you saying that though? What about it is you? You don't look
Oh,
like
no,
that
no.
person. You don't act like that person. You don't
Internally-
talk like that person.
Yeah,
you don't
but
sound
you
like...
were there with all those experiencing.
What
That is
of
you.
you was there?
Oh, something. I don't know. Something.
That's what I'm
internal,
saying.
Yeah.
Like,
you're asking what is that?
You
Oh,
ask
okay,
you're
yeah.
when you're saying like why do you need a constant? That's why, because otherwise how do you individuate personalities from one another?
Well, I think maybe it's the part of you that. Okay, this is what I would say. It's the part of you that just like other parts of your personality. You can have like a really great part of your personality, and then you can lose it, or you could have like a part of yourself that's very attractive, and all of a sudden it's gone, like it's aged. But your person, like your who you are, you don't lose. You just
What
keep
does that
gaining.
mean?
You just keep gaining in that area.
No, I've lost a lot of things. Like, for example, no, you're complete. When people say I've lost my innocence, there are things that you lose that you never get back. They're not just
Yes,
changing,
no, I'm-
like they
right,
actually
and that's
go away.
not your person. What you can lose is
Okay,
not
so-
your person.
so what is your
I think
person?
that your person is what you get from all of your experiences, and that thing just keeps
So if
growing.
another being had the exact same experiences as you, then they'd be the exact same person as you.
No.
Okay, so then what is it about you that individuates yourself from the other person who's having the exact same
Yeah.
experience?
Okay.
See what I'm saying? It's got to
Yeah,
it's
it's
got
gotta
to
be something more than
transcend.
that. Yeah.
It's got to transcend the 4 dimensions that we're in, which
Yeah.
is why I'm just dumping it into the spirit category.
Yeah.
Because that I think it is an aspect of ourself that's actually outside of this this segment of reality, we'll call it that. So like for example, like if you're playing a virtual reality headset, right? Like
Yeah.
the world that you're inhabiting is not the real world. The real you is outside of that world.
Yes.
So my theory right now is that there is all of us. There is a part of us that's outside of this world, but for God's purposes, we don't know that. We can only get there by logical deduction and say, hey, wait a second, none of this shit is actually real. And we've kind of woke, it's kind of like AI waking up to itself. But I think for God's purposes, the entire reason that we're here is specifically to learn something about ourselves and God. And so if we had the awareness that we're actually outside of this reality, it would completely undo the point of the project in the first place. That's
Yep.
that's as far as I've come to figuring this stuff out. At what point are you necessarily going to be different? It's one of those questions of philosophy that can't easily be answered. Yeah, and I think that Philo was dealing with the logos. Like, how do you never cross the same river twice. So that's an interesting angle. But then you have this kind of logos principle that keeps everything together, even though it's constantly in flux. So whatever that mystery was, Philo just dumped it into the concept of the logos. So the logos is keeping everything together, which obviously, the Christian said, "Thank you very much. We'll take that." So yeah. Anyway, this is a brilliant song, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I liked the rhythm changes. The rhythm changes made a lot of sense to me. They were very abrupt, but that's the entire point of the song, is that change happens that way. So this song is getting a 9.3 for me.
So I would give the beginning, the first 75% of it, just on that, I would give it a 9.2. And then I did not like the changes in there, at all. Like, I would have brought that down to like a friggin' 5 or a 6. But when you put the context behind it of what it means, then you can't do that, because it actually fits very well. So I will give this song a solid 9.
All right, and then we had Perkinos there. This is why Aristotelian categories are helpful. Your substance is the you. Your eye color, your hair, your skin color, your ability to laugh, even your cells, etc., are your accidents. Okay, but how does Aristotle define substance, though? Is Aristotle using substance the way that I use spirit, which is basically a catch-all for, existence outside of the, fourth dimension? How does he deal with substance? I'd like to know. Okay, we've got more songs on the way. Song number 3 coming up, dear listener. We are in the midst of the Yes Marathon by the big homie DJ Nick. We shall see you on the other side of the break. Time to pay bills, bitches. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that
can
off.
also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee,
Can't
a
guarantee
positive
you
review.
A positive review.
Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Bar merch. What terrible hosts we are, babe. There was nothing here but the lights. Okay, we are doing a Yes Marathon for the big homie DJ Nick. And Vinny will be back here soon. I can't wait for him to... I have a trash can out in the hallway. It smells horrid. Okay. Up next is Siberian Cutthroat. But Vinny's not here, so I'll just hang out with you. Perk. Your nature as a human being, including your human soul, would be considered your substance. Yes, substance refers to the fundamental reality of a thing.
So what he's calling a soul? So ask him. Yeah. So he's a dichotomist, right? Perk.
Oh, probably.
So that's probably close to where I'm coming from.
All right.
Perk, are you a dichotomist or a trichotomist? All right, Revo in the house.
Revo, thank you for being so accommodating.
Here we go, guys. Song numero tres.
Okay, how would you say this?
Siberian Cutthroat.
There we go.
Siberian Cutthroat by yes. Let's check it out.
Yes.
Whoa! I immediately feel good. Stay up at 840. do this. I'm very sorry, Nick. Forgive me, but I gotta hear that. I gotta hear that segment again because it was so fucking beautiful. I'm sorry. I never really do this. You guys know we don't interrupt
Interruptions.
songs, but I really
disrespecting
enjoyed that moment.
the
I'm
band.
sorry. That's the fucking word, bro. Gorgeous.
Wow. is
Yeah.
correct.
Forgive me. I had to stop. I had to stop it and play that triple harmony was crazy, bro. I don't hear anybody doing it. And it was crazy because I was like, this is our third song in a row, and this dude's voice is. I always think to myself, like, if I'm playing guitar, I'm like, damn, I wish I had that setting. Or like when I'm playing or whatever, and I hear something from like 2 months ago, I'm like, yo, that setting was perfect. So I think about this guy's voice and the production. Like, I know he's got a good voice and things like that, and everybody else had good, but there was a certain kind of like production style that set the like in the 70s music that
Yes, I agree.
like, yo, I wish we could bring that back. Like, even like little intervals, like not like the whole
little
time,
pieces,
but like it'd be crazy to have like a crazy metal blah 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 blah, and then boom, like a little 30-second little,
yeah.
you know, I don't know, 8-bar little 30-second thing where it's like, yo,
That would be
I
interesting.
I just think like it's crazy to me, like the stuff that define these time periods, like 80s music, like that electronica sound,
Yeah.
you know, and then the 70s, like bring it back, bring some of that shit back. Like there's a couple bands like Perturbator, for example, that's just retro and has that 80s kind of
Yeah.
sound to it.
Yeah.
But negative vibes. Kind of funny to think that Vin's dreaded genre descended from something this good. I agree. I can't stand the genre of progressive, but these guys are different. Maybe the entire reason I don't like progressive is because everybody's trying to do a Yes impression. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to do a Yes impression and you're not Yes, bro. No. You should name your band No and stop trying to stop copying people.
That was a big compliment for the band.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Katru means as you wish in the Yemeni dialect of Arabic.
Really?
There you are. Shout out to all my Yemeni friends. Yeah, man, like, I feel music back then was more experimental than today. Yeah, I mean, today, the music industry, we talked about this like a couple days ago, it incentivizes copycatting, like,
Yeah.
especially now in the YouTube SoundCloud era, where you could get famous like literally overnight. I was looking at this Vlad video, this kid Little Loaded, like he put the video out there, and then there was a guy that reviewed videos that had 0 views. So he picked up this kid's thing, and then it went viral.
That's
and
it.
like literally from the moment he put it on SoundCloud, 72 hours later, he had record execs calling him.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but it was all the typical drill shit. It wasn't any real, like, he's
Wow.
like, yo, I put that together in 3 minutes, and I believe him. It wasn't very complex. But my point is, like, you don't really see that happening a lot with metal, but you
No.
do see it a lot with rap. With rap, it's like every third person was a SoundCloud guy who got discovered. You know what I'm saying? And so it perpetuates this sort of like, just copy this and you just sound like this, because every record label
that's
wants their version of this and their version of that. You know what I'm saying? That's why King Von is so different, because he actually did all that shit. You can't replicate what he is, because half of the reason people are listening to him is because they already knew what he was doing in the streets. So guys like that are like 1 in a million, but you could just keep replicating everything now. Like, you look at I mean, no disrespect, but a lot of like, all you have to do is put in reaction channels for metal, and you'll see everybody's reviewing the same bands because the same bands are big. So if I was a kid, if I was 18 years old, I would just sit there, study that, and then just replicate anything those people are doing, and then, you know, we'd have you, and that'd be it. We'd be famous. You know, like, honestly, like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
so music like this is, I don't know, man, it's different now. You know what I'm saying? Like, music like this is, you got to actually love the music. You know, it's hard because they got big because they were doing something new. You know what I'm saying? At the time, and the time period was different. So they had especially around the late 60s, early 70s, everybody was young people who were consuming music were talking about being open-minded, looking at new things, looking into Eastern philosophy, that type of thing. So it kind of encouraged a sort of Pink Floyd or a band like this to like experiment and stuff, because everybody was like literally
Yeah.
experimenting with
Yeah.
psychedelics and everything. And so
Yep.
now, that's the other thing that's crazy to me, is like now people are not encouraged at all to experiment with any ideas.
No.
You know, like you can't even say certain things. You'll get banned on Twitter. Like I didn't tell you. I was talking to M Death Fan about this, but I mentioned something about the CDC, and they took down one of the videos, and they threatened to give us a copyright strike and suspend the channel for a week. Yeah, like
How far into
I
the
mean,
video
a
did you
community
say that?
guideline strike.
How far into the video did you say that?
It was pretty deep into the video. It was
That's
like
even more-
20 minutes into the video. But my
Okay.
point is like.
Wow.
My point is, your surrounding culture influences
Yep.
what kind of music you're going to hear
Yeah.
at the popular level. That's why it's called pop music. Like, your surrounding culture and then the demands of the consumer is going to... So you're not going to see a band like Yes. You know, like, what would have to happen is an already established band would have to say, we're going to throw out what made us famous, and we're just going to completely I think Tool could go there. Like Tool could do something completely unTool-like, and it would garner massive attention. Like I would buy that record. If Tool said,
Really?
if Tool came out with a song and it sounded nothing like Tool has ever done before, and then
Yeah.
they said, here's $10 and you can get in there, like, and that was the only way you could get access to that music, I would absolutely pay that money. I would pay that money to hear Tool do something completely opposite
yeah.
to what Tool has done.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying? So, like, there's not a lot of bands, in my opinion, that can do that now, like this band was able to. Like, them, Floyd, they just had... It's kind of like, the way I think about it is like, the regular video games, because Daniel was talking about video games. Regular video games are just like, it's a 2D world, and you're going from A to Z, and you literally can't go backwards. Like, that's music. That's
right, you
pop
couldn't go
music.
backwards.
But then, you know, as it advanced and you had other games, I'm thinking about a specific game right now, and I can't think about it. But you were basically, you know, a hunter type thing, and it was a 360 environment, and you could literally go anywhere. And even if it had nothing to do with the quest,
Yep.
you could go anywhere, explore shit, live an entire life, and never go back to your quest. Like, that's
Yeah.
bands like Pink Floyd, bands like this. It's like this completely open 360. They could go anywhere. They could go anywhere. They could do anything. But it makes sense in the universe of the game. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing. Like, these guys, it makes sense what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just unbelievable to me. But the harmonies on this song were just absolutely bonk. It was insane.
Okay. What did you get from it lyrically?
I have to pick up the lyrics because, to be honest with you, I was just blown away by the sound, so I actually stopped looking at the lyrics.
That's also what I did. I was just writing. You know when they have like the lazy river, you sit on a tube and it goes down.
What was the name of the song again?
This one is the Siberian Katrul or whatever. However
Go ahead.
you say that appropriately or correctly. That's how this song. I just felt like I was like just riding the wave of the song all the way down.
Well, yeah, and then what they did with those harmonies, bro, like that shit is...
Yeah, I was actually glad that you I mean, I made a little bit of a hard time for you, but I was glad you backed up that part of the song because I had kind of missed that. And then when you played it again, I was like, yo, that was really good.
Yeah, they just... It's like I said, like, I've heard, obviously, we've listened to literally thousands of songs. Like, I've heard harmonies before, but not like that. And it was just so fucking clean, bro. That was just
Yeah.
really, really good. Okay. Sing, bird of prey. Beauty begins at the foot of view. Do you believe the manner? Gold, stainless nail, torn through the distance of man as they regard the summit. Even Siberia goes through the motions. Hold out and hold up, hold down the window, outbound river. Hold out the morning that comes into view, blue tail, tail fly. River running right on over my head. How does she sing? Who holds the ring? And the ring and you will find me coming. Cold, reigning king, hold all the secrets from you as they produce the movement. Even Siberia goes up the motions, etc., etc., etc. So what was your take on it?
I don't have a take.
Oh, I see. You don't have a take. I was waiting for Nick to give his take because he usually has.
And I'm
go ahead.
honestly, I'm still confused by. Oh, look at the refrain. River running right over, then over my head. Outboard river, blue tail tie flare. Luther in time. Sun tower asking. Cover, lover. June cast, moon fast. As one changes, heart gold lever. Soul mark, mover. Christian, changer. Called out, savior. Moongate climber. What is he doing?
Turnaround glider. So there's one guy that's theorizing, look, the lyrics were just part of the sound. Like, it wasn't really there to be intelligible, like, cognitively. You were supposed to get it emotionally because it goes with the rest of the
Oh, well, then,
You see what I'm saying?
yay for us, if that's what it was, because we both just rode the song.
People always say, yeah, right, that we did that properly then.
Yeah.
But I always feel like people say that when they can't understand stuff themselves. You see what I'm saying? I always feel like people are saying, oh, it's just, whatever.
Well, Nick said unity among different cultures.
Torn through the distance of man as they regard the summit. Even Siberia goes through the motions. Hold out and hold up. Hold down the window, outbound river. How does she sing? Who holds the ring? In the ring you will find me coming. Even Siberia goes through the motions. Hold out and hold up. Blue tail. And then he says Luther.
I know.
I'm assuming he's talking about Martin Luther because it says
That's
Christian.
what I assumed because
it says
was
Christian,
Christian
changer, called out, savior, moongate climber. So you got a blue tail fly. That's a bird, right? Luther in time. Sun tower. What is a sun tower? I've never heard of a sun tower.
Ooh, I don't know.
Does anybody know what a sun tower is?
I thought
First of all, that's a badass. That's a badass. I like the word itself, sun tower.
No.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
You know, like they used to have those. It would tell a time by casting the shadow.
Okay, so it looks like sun towers are a hotel.
What?
Yeah, I put sun tower in there, and it's a laid back hotel in Fort Lauderdale. I doubt very highly he's talking about the Sun Tower Hotel.
Yeah.
Okay, so lyrically, I'm not really sure where he's going. I mean, there is a dolly doody dee da right there in that verse, so like that goes to the idea that it's just, to make a sound in itself. But the unity among the cultures thing might be the closest thing to it, in my opinion. Because he says even Siberia goes through the motions, and Siberia is, a very cold,
So I've heard.
Whatever. So it looks like he's saying like, even down there in this place, like there's something that like connects all of us. LV Looper says, lyrics were written to complement the music. His vocals as an instrument in and of itself, not to convey meaning.
Wow,
that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
So then,
although I would say it's still conveying a meaning, just not.
Yeah.
From the cognitive mechanism of picking up the meaning isn't what they're going for. They're going for more the emotive kind of part of you that does that.
I like stuff like this. This is kind of unique because, and the other thing too is, I don't know, sometimes I write like this, like it seems all abstract, but it is coming from a certain mood or feeling.
Right.
That might not be able to be understood lyrically.
Right.
But when I reread it, I'm like, yeah, I know what I was feeling. So yeah, that's really interesting. I'm gonna give this one.
Revo has an interesting take. Sun Tower could be the tower of humanity going towards the sun, like going to the end of the dark tunnel. Very possible.
This one, I'm gonna give this one a 9.3.
This is a 9.8 to me because of that sound, bro. That sound was just crazy to me. It was really, really good. It's a 9.8 for me. Would you give it?
I think I gave it a 9.3.
All right. There you are, dear listeners. Stay tuned. We have more. More on the way.
More coming your way.
More coming your way. Okay, guys. We shall return The Yes Marathon continues, bitches. Vin out.
Soria.
Go.
Bye.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that off.
can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee,
Can't
a
guarantee
positive
you
review.
A positive review.
Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Bye, merch. Vin just got a phone call. He will be here soon. Okay. Yes, and you and I is up next. Sorry. All right. The song itself talked about movement and the summit peak, if I'm remembering the lyrics right. Babe, ready?
No, we're good. Peace.
We're live.
That was Becky. She's telling me about some prank they played on us. All right.
Wait, we didn't even know we were being pranked.
They like the empty chairs on the other side of the infomercial. All right, guys, here we go.
Yeah, if you knew anything about the rapture, you'd start to wonder.
Well, our shirts weren't there.
Well, they would have slid down in the seat.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
All right, You and I. Oh, and You and I is up next by the band Yes for the big homie Nick.
DJ Nick. All right, guys, check it out. You and I. Let's go.
Okay.
the flowers daily sensing all the things. As a foundation left to create the spiraling, a movement regained and regarded both the same. All complete in the sight of seeds of life with you. Changed only for a sight, the sound, the space agreed. Between the picture of time behind the face of me. Coming quickly to terms of all expression laid. Emotion revealed is the ocean made. All complete in the sight of seeds of life with you. Oh, come and take a close, there is something that you know. We must walk the cords of the road together. Just another earth. We won't hide, oh, we won't tell you what you know, what you all and you and I climb over the sea to the valley. And you and I reach out for reasons to coming quickly to terms of all expression laid. Emotion revealed as the ocean made. As the movement regained and regarded both the same. All complete in the sight of seeds of life with you. Sat preacher nailed upon the colored door of time. Insane teacher, be there reminded of the rhyme. to enter you. I listened hard but could not see. Like tempo change out and inside me. The preacher training on to lose his name. The teacher travels asking to be shown the same. In the end we'll agree, we'll accept, we'll immortalize. That the truth of the man maturing in his eyes. Oh, complete in the sight of seed of life with you.
Yeah.
All right.
And you and I go crossing the shapes of the morning. And you and I reach over the sun for the river. And you and I glide clearer towards the movement. And you and I gold over valleys of endless sea.
And that was You and I by the band. Yes, dear listener. What were your thoughts?
I agree.
Again,
I
the
enjoyed
harmonies, crazy again with the harmonies. Go ahead.
Yeah, they did a lot of cool stuff with that. It just had like a sound that you really liked. And again, their overall sound that I keep hearing, kind of spread throughout all these songs, is it's just got this sound to me that if you listen to this music at a certain phase of your life, and then you move to another phase and then didn't listen to that music anymore, if you went back and listened to it, it would flood back a lot of memories.
Yeah. I actually could see people getting real sad.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Just
Yep.
because the way life was probably really, really good.
When you were listening.
Like if you're listening to this song,
Yeah.
that means life was really, really good.
Yeah.
I think.
I
anyway.
agree.
So yeah, that's like bygone times, all type of shit. Yeah, for sure.
And
for
it was
sure.
interesting because like some of the lyrics, I was like, what are we talking about? And then there was other parts that just did definitely seem like romantic, and so I am kind of curious to hear your take on some of the different.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I hate not having all.
Like
the
obviously
lyrics there
when
at
he
one time.
says, yeah, Genius has it all.
Well, no, I got them all there. It's just.
Looks like they have a lot more than all.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Where was it? Where he talked about.
A man conceived a moment's answers to the dream, staying the flowers daily, sensing all the themes. Is a foundation left to create the spiral aim, a movement regained and regarded both the same, all completed in the sight of seeds of life with you. Changed only for a sight, the sound, the space agreed between the picture of time behind the face of need. Coming quickly to terms of all expression laid, emotions revealed as the ocean made, all complete in the sight of seeds of life with you. Coins and crosses. Turn round, tailor assaulting, never know their fruitless worth. All the mornings of the present shown, presenting one another to the cord. Cords are broken, all left dying, rediscovered of the door that turned round, locked inside the Mother Earth. I mean, lyrically, this dude is brilliant. What are you thinking about as you're hearing all
I
this
think it was
stuff?
the refrain, and you and I climb over sea to the valley, and you and I reach up for reasons to call. So he keeps talking about like what they did together. I liked those parts obviously because they sounded more relational. When they said, I don't know. Okay, coming quickly to terms of all expression laid, emotion revealed as the ocean made. As a movement regained, regarded both the same, all complete in the sight of seeds of life with you. That part, like most of it, I don't even understand. When it said ocean made, but it was talking about emotions being revealed as the ocean made. I don't know, like that part, maybe I'm like looking at it in a totally weird way, but like if obviously a maid would be somebody, that's how you would spell, yeah, that's the maid that cleans. And then it talked about ocean, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, but that's short for maiden. It could just be a young woman.
Emotion
I took that as like a
revealed the ocean
mythical,
made. Oh.
almost, what do you call those things? Man, my short-term
Like
memory is
a-
crazy. Mermaid.
Yeah, like a
type,
mermaid.
Or
Yeah.
a siren
Yeah.
type woman of the sea.
Oh. Yeah, but emotion revealed as the ocean made?
Oh, look at that. I should recite poetry. You got a good voice for it. Well, that's the first time I've ever heard that. So I'll have to look into it. Go ahead.
Reciting it would be better than if you were reading it. I agree. Okay.
Coins and crosses never know their fruitless worth. That's a crazy line. Cords are broken, locked inside the Mother Earth. Yeah, I'm good. Coins and crosses never know their fruitless worth. So money is dumb, and so is religion, apparently. Money and religion are both dumb.
Wow.
Cords are broken, locked inside the Mother Earth. They won't hide, they won't tell you, watching the world, watching all the world watch us go by. I think what he's saying is, and what's interesting is when I'm looking at the lyrics here, it's got, one guy's called The Preacher.
Oh, really?
It says part 3. So part 2
I
says
saw the
eclipse, and
preacher,
then
the
part
teacher.
3 it says a preacher, the teacher. Sad preacher nailed upon the colored door of time. Insane teacher, be there, remind me of the rhyme. There'll be no mutant enemy, we shall certify. Political ends as sad remains will die. Reach out as foretastes begin to enter you. I mean, these lines are just pretty crazy. They're just crazy. Reach out as foretastes begin to enter you. But that's a fascinating concept. If the song is a love song, then I think the point of the song is to say none of this shit matters except for the connection you have with that other person. And he gets down to when he talks about coins and crosses are what did he say, they were worthless or fruitless?
They don't know they're fruitless or something like that. Hold on.
Yeah, never know their fruitless worth.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating because here's a question.
I wonder.
Go ahead.
I was wondering if it's like literally coins and crosses, or if coins and crosses are what the majority of us deem to be the most important, and so maybe he's saying what people think is the most important. A lot of times doesn't.
Yeah, but why use that? Obviously, you're trying to make a statement, particularly about religion.
Yeah.
Which,
Okay, so what was your take?
well, I mean, look, whatever people values is what they value. So the question is, are things valuable in and of themselves, or are they valuable because human beings decide to assign value to it?
That.
So if that world is true, then that sentence makes a lot of sense. The problem with that is, if that is true, then you cannot limit worthlessness only to coins and crosses. What if I say people are equally worthless? If we say that things are only valuable insofar as human estimation
Oh yeah.
assigns a value proposition to them, that's okay. So you could say coins are worthless and you could say crosses are worthless. But what if I say people are worthless? What if my value system is inverted from that and all I care about is coins and everything else is worthless, which means I can exchange human lives for coins because coins are what's most valuable to me.
Yeah.
So,
It's a problem.
like on the one hand, there's a lot of things that people have to assume to make certain concepts work. Right? Like, so you have to assume a sort of steady state morality for the idea that human beings are the ones that assign value to things to work. Because what I just said is obviously a nightmare, and most people, especially in our village, be like, well, no, I'm not talking about that.
Right.
So I'm saying, like, you're assuming a certain kind of universal value structure for things. But I think that sounds cool to say. It sounds very edgy. But if you've seen the worst of humanity up close and in 3D, I don't know, man. That cross has been pretty... I've gotten a lot of utility out of that cross, man. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like on the one hand, you know this as a Christian, you're interfacing with this being.
Yeah.
Especially us, he's haunted us our entire lives. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't use the word
So,
haunted, but
well,
okay.
me personally, I have been because, you know, I'm taking the term haunting to mean some spirit is following you when you don't want them there. And I had experiences like that with God, where I had a very failed attempt at atheism in my high school years. You know what I'm saying? But so there's like a part of me that's like, I know that people. If people haven't, I don't know what it's like to not experience God. You know what I'm saying? So,
right, yeah.
particularly God in Jesus Christ. So, I know that lived reality of experience for me is not the lived reality of everybody else. And for a long time, I thought it was. And so, it wasn't until, I don't know, 10, 15
Yeah.
years ago where I began to go, you know what, this is...
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought it was like, you know, when there's like a lot of sounds and you don't even realize, and then somebody says, hey, do you hear that air conditioner running? Then all of a sudden you hear it.
Right.
I thought it was like that. I thought everybody can have these experiences, and to this degree, they just had to pay attention to it.
Yeah. But that's not true.
Right.
I think so. For them, if their experience for whatever reason is that God is not kind of there, then
Yeah.
I understand how you could think it's worthless, especially when you look at the proximity to coin, because he's saying coins and crosses, which you could say, oh, he's going for alliteration because C's are everywhere in that little stanza. Coins and crosses, and then he says chords are broken, so there's another C there.
I think another thing is that if you're the type of person that experienced religion through somebody else instead of experiencing it yourself, then there's a lot of fruitless, useless things that you could probably see from it, because you're just looking at somebody else's experience and commenting on that.
Right.
But I think that once you have an experience yourself, then it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
No, yeah, I agree with that. And then
Because, like, if you just looked at a regular Christian, like, they're not going to be perfect. They're going to do bad things. They're not going to be perfect people, but they're still going to claim that Jesus is their savior. So, like, somebody looking in on that could be like, oh, okay, you're just as nasty as us, but you got a savior to help you. Boo-hoo. You know what I'm saying? But, like, if you experience it, you realize, oh, no, I'm not a perfect person, but I absolutely need Jesus as my savior.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
No,
does that make
I
sense?
agree with that. Daniel says Christianity isn't worthless by any means. Just because it doesn't do anything for me doesn't mean it doesn't do good for others. Well, obviously it does do good for you, because you live in a country that says all people are created equal, and that came out of a Christian worldview. That's indisputable. Now, I'm not saying that everybody was Christians. I'm saying it came from a Christian worldview. The concept of the equality of everybody that we all share and enjoy is not a normal
Right.
idea in the human experience. And
Right.
I mean, to this day, in the modern age, we have a stratified understanding of human beings. Like some human beings are valuable, some aren't. Some human beings are just there to be a labor force for other human beings who are. Some human beings are there just as inconvenience, kill them, get rid of them. Some human beings are dangerous. We need to put them all, mass incarcerate them. So like the idea that all people are equal is not a natural human
Not
idea at all. So I do think it's done a couple things for you,
Yeah.
Daniel. But at the same time, when you look at the proximity of coin and crosses and the marriage of money and the worship of money, you don't have to be a theologian to realize that there's a sense in which Christianity has been bastardized. And by the time you got to the 70s, or late 60s, early 70s, I don't know when this was written, but you had a lot of people that were disillusioned with Christianity. And what was fascinating was they didn't all go to atheism, like people did 10 years ago when they're all trying to be cool and doing the flying spaghetti monster stuff. I remember when you first brought up this flying spaghetti monster to me, I was like, yeah.
The what?
The flying spaghetti
even
monster.
remember it
Yeah. I'll tell you
Oh
later. It was
my
this funny
gosh.
atheist. That's when I knew their movement was. I said, these guys aren't going to last another 5 years. Holy shit. And
Is that the
I
one
was
where they
right.
said the Bible doesn't talk about? Okay, we'll talk about.
No,
it later.
we'll talk about it later. Basically, the guy's like, I could just make this up. It's the flying spaghetti monster, or whatever. But what was fascinating is in the late 60s, early 70s, people were not going to atheism. They were leaving Christianity for Eastern religions.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Right? They were going into their Hinduism, Buddhism, psychedelics. That's the thing and what's fascinating now is that with the with really the emergence of Joe Rogan, psychedelics have come back to the forefront. And me, I do all this research, like looking back, I'm like, yo, like LSD, all these, they were talking about this shit back in this. I was like, oh, that's what LSD, I had no
So
idea.
Weird. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was looking at it, we were looking at it from like the technical standpoint, from the originator and all that. And then he was talking about these psychedelic experiences. And then like, it was like halfway into the thing where it was like, oh, this is LSD. And I was like, holy shit. Because, we're still kids. We're still products of the war on drugs. So we're like, holy shit, LSD. That's
Right.
and don't do it. Don't, don't do it. Don't take any of that stuff. I'm just saying, the movement didn't go from Christianity to atheism. It went from Christianity to Eastern religions. And that says something really. I do believe that also impacted the music. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
not only just, different scales, because scales function regionally. It's really interesting. So, like, you're getting new scales and progressions that obviously open up your mind to different kinds of music, but these people were exploring a lot of things, man. And that to me says there's still a desire for transcendence, something that goes beyond this stuff. Like, even with the music, like,
Right.
the music itself, I'm talking about this band in particular, is designed to get you
Yeah, that's true.
someplace.
Yeah.
So like we're always like reaching
For something.
something
yeah.
higher. That's why I said like these guys are never like these new atheists or whatever. Like they're
Yeah,
that
that's interesting.
that's that movement. And you know what's fascinating? Right as that movement was dying out, they started having these atheist church things. So they'd go, they'd meet with each other, they'd sing. They'd fellowship, all types of shit just without God. It was really, really
What
fascinating.
would they sing about?
Oh, it was like regular songs, like pop songs, U2, whatever.
Huh.
And, oh yeah, and there
interesting.
was a lot of things where people were trying to satisfy or satiate the desire for transcendence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that as an idea, as an ideological concept, is never going to dominate the thinking of a majority of people. And I think, you know, the communists, the Soviets proved that, where they had this thing called forced secularization. Because they were like, oh, as soon as we explain to these people that God is a myth, they'll, you know, whatever. So all we have to do is get rid of the parents and then, you know, just brainwash the kids and we'll be good. You couldn't, it was impossible.
Yeah.
People have that drive toward the transcendent. So even in a oppressive, horrifically horrible society like what you saw in communist in the Soviet Union, people still had to go there because
Yeah.
it's like breathing, or it's like
Yeah.
you're a bird. You know what I'm saying? You can tell people flying is a myth all you want, but people are gonna fly. That's their nature. So I just think people are constantly gonna reach up. The problem is that you have very bad actors who know that about human nature, and so they convert that natural desire to hit the transcendent. They convert that into capital. And so when you talk about coins and crosses, and you talk about the proximity between that and then the ultimate understanding of like what love is and what's ultimately is this what's ultimately valuable? How can you value somebody who you can't see more than somebody that you can see right in front of you? And if I were to say, I know that I could see sori, but right now Jesus is realer to me right here than sori is, I know that's complete nonsense to people. And I'm not mad at them for that, because I'm looking at the same screen everybody else is, and there's nobody over here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, what's fascinating to me is that people think they're looking at me. They're not looking at me. That's not me. That is a projection of me. That's not me. And none of these colors are here. So to me, I don't care if you can't see Jesus like right next to me, because I'm looking with a different set of binoculars,
Right.
as it were. But I really, really enjoyed it. What did you think of this song?
Oh, I loved it. This one is actually getting the highest score of all the Yes songs so far. This is a 9.7 for me. What about you?
That's such a fascinating thing that Sadie's saying. I've literally never met somebody who went from Eastern philosophy to atheism. Almost every atheist I know started out Christian, then stopped believing. Yeah, I agree with that. I've never seen like a Hindu atheist. Like I was a Hindu and now I'm an atheist. You know what I'm saying? And I guess some of that is like you're going to be born into a cultural milieu that's obviously dominated by Christianity. So everybody's going to be an ex-Christian in that sense. So that makes sense. So yeah, interesting. All right, what did you give it?
I give it a 9.7.
This is a 9 dots. You know what? I think I'm going to give it a 9.72. I liked the song before it, but this song lyrically was stronger to me. Not because it was much better than the other one, just because it was more legible and understanding to me. So this one is a little bit higher than the previous one. Where is that witch, Sadie? There's Amy Lee. You're about 2 hours and 9 minutes late, damn it.
Oh no.
Okay, guys, we got one more song coming for you. DJ Nick gives it a 10. We got one more song coming for you. Stay tuned, and you're going to want your popcorn for this one, dear listener. I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that off.
can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee,
Can't
a
guarantee
positive
you
review.
A positive review.
Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Ben and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch. Hello. I needed another giant cup of ice. All right. Yes. Closer to the Edge is the last song on tonight's stream. I'm just going into the comment section as I'm waiting for Vinny to arrive. House around. We have IHOP. Ready, babe?
Yep. Don't dare me. Dare
Your diary.
I love that line.
Why?
It's such a smart line.
I guess I don't get it.
Don't dare me, dare your diary. Can we have their stuff? Did somebody die? She said, can...
I have no idea.
The
why
new
you're
merch
saying
is
that.
invisibility cloak and stuff. I had an invisibility cloak, bitches. That's why y'all couldn't see me. You guys just saw the chair.
Oh my gosh. Wouldn't it have made the chair invisible too?
All right, guys, here we go. This is why we call this a marathon. This is going to be a 20-minute song, dear listener.
What
Now,
the
in
fuck?
most circumstances, we've got a 10-minute limit, but this is DJ Nick, dear listener, so it is what it is, okay? But if you have a 20-minute song for us, please keep in mind you will be financing 2. But, look, things are negotiable. You've done as many DJ streams as DJ Nick, then things are a little bit different. Oh, you guys are playing favorites, obviously.
Obviously. Obviously.
I'm allowed to have favorites, right? So
Yes,
it is what
in
it
case
is.
you didn't know, it is our YouTube channel.
Did Boogies get
it's
love?
close to the edge.
Did Boogies get love? Yes. The Boogies got some love. People started messaging me like, "Yo, bring the Bible Boogies back." So, I don't know. Peter hasn't messaged me about it though. So there's that. All right, guys, here we go. Yes, it's an epic song, close to the edge. Sit back, relax. We're gonna flip the screen thingy because this is supposed to be an immersive experience with the visuals and all that, so please pay attention to that as well. Here we go.
Should we turn down the lights?
Should we turn down the lights? I don't know. What do you think we should?
I don't know. Did you just say there was going to be some cool visual?
Yeah, it's
Just dim yours.
It's a video thingamajiggy.
I feel like I'm
That's
back
what
in
it
the
says.
3rd grade with those powerful fluorescent light bulbs that used to.
No, well, talk
take
to
us
the
through
people
school under.
because the downloader hasn't downloaded.
Oh,
yet.
okay. So dim that light when you.
I've
get,
been
when you
doing
get
this
a
for an
chance.
hour on that bitch. This is like old school, like Napster shit.
Okay.
So,
Ooh.
distract the people while I fix this.
I will. Let me just get to the comment section, and then I will distract them.
I've
Ladies
got a
and
bone
gentlemen.
to pick with you, little human bone to pick
Good night,
with you,
Lisa.
little human being.
Revo, I wish we had popcorn. I seriously, you're gonna say that's so ridiculous. I was at the grocery store and like the bill just came up too high. I was like, I can't do this. So I put my popcorn back.
You silly, bro.
I knew you were gonna say that.
It's silly as hell. But then you're like, let's go to the hotel. It's like,
I know, but it's like I have different boxes. Like I don't want to spend more than X
Makes no
amount when I go to
sense.
Walmart.
make no damn sense.
And like I have a number in my head, and it doesn't matter if everything that I picked up doubled in price since the last time. I don't want to spend over a certain amount.
Weird. All right, I got it. The
it was gonna be the
download
one with,
went
like
through.
all the extra butter on it.
The download went through, bitches. Here we go. Sit back and relax. The time has arrived. Close to the
Here we
edge,
go.
1972. Visualizations and lyrics. Let's do this shit. Alright, I'm going to read this part. The lyrical content became a kind of dream sequence in a way. The end verse is a dream that I had a long time ago about passing on from this world to another world, yet feeling so fantastic about it that death never frightened me ever since. I think in the early days when I was small, I used to be frightened of this idea of not being here. Where else can there be if it isn't here? And it just seemed a matter of course that death is just as much as a beautiful experience for a man to physically go through as being born is, says John Anderson. And let's go. That's pretty deep, actually. Shout out to the homie. Do you hear anything yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right, buddy. We get it. Let's get to the song now, huh? What?
You.
This guy did a really good job with this video.
Yeah. Can you turn that brightness?
And actually full screen now. Full screen. smokes. Chris Squire, rest in peace. That's was that the keyboardist that Nick said?
Well,
I loved the visuals on this thing a lot. I thoroughly enjoyed the visuals on this video.
Chris Squire, you said?
Chris Squire, yeah.
That's the bassist.
That was the bassist. Okay, rest in peace to the homie.
He's the one that died of cancer in 2015.
The thing about such ambiguous lyrics is that they can pretty much mean anything you want it to mean. You can apply them to a variety of situations and get meaning out of it. Yeah, first of all, I agree. Lyrically, I do believe that there's an objective meaning to what he's writing, but he makes it so abstract that there's a lot of empty spaces that you can fill in your own kind of meaning with. Mm-hmm. You know, there's certain bands that's impossible. I think, like, I don't know. I think a lot of art is that way. Like, obviously, as a person that believes in objective truth, mm-hmm. I don't believe that beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I don't believe that's true. And I also don't believe that that's true musically. Like, that's why we have different words for noise or racket or a din versus an orchestra or a song.
Right.
Like, every group of human beings that has language has that differentiation. Mm-hmm. So that means then that music is something that at some level is objective. But there is a whole bunch of subjectivity. Like, it was really interesting. Like, you know, we were watching Korn, and as I don't know how many times, I've lost count how many times I've seen them live now. But, and you know, we talked about this earlier. This is almost full circle. Like, what makes a person, mm-hmm. or when you talk about that boat. Right, so like you start with one boat, and then you replace the deck. You basically replace everything in the boat. Mm-hmm. Is it the same boat by the time you get to shore? Mm-hmm. You know, it's essentially literally in its essence, a completely different boat. Mm-hmm. But what makes it the same boat? So it's the same thing like with art. It's like you're making all of these sounds, these quote random sounds, but they're coming together. So what makes art? And I think the answer for that is that the boat, and this is fascinating.
That's interesting. Okay. Yeah.
It is the same boat because as an idealist, I don't believe any of the wood or anything in the first place existed anyway. So the intention that you poured into that material is what makes that thing that thing. So this is the vessel that's going to get us from A to B. That's my intention when I boarded the whatever that thing was. And so whether I change out all the material, it doesn't change. It's the same boat because it's the vessel that we're using to get to A to B. So then you define what a thing is, not by the materials, but by the intention of the thing.
Yeah.
Which obviously it still kind of works because we believe in God, so God pours intention into the material that is me.
Yeah.
Supposedly the material that's supposedly here. So then when you think about music, it's the same thing. It's like the difference between noise and music is the intentionality of the person. Meaning if you hear a jackhammer, we call that noise because what's coming out of the jackhammer is not the purpose that's intended by the jackhammer, right? Like destroying that concrete is the purpose of the jackhammer. The sound that it makes is an unintended byproduct. Mm-hmm. So we call that noise. When we come together to make noise with purpose, we call that music.
Yeah, but there are times where people come with the purpose of creating music and it just doesn't. It's a flop.
Well, it's bad music, but it's still music. We call it music and not noise because even if the person is bad, we see the point of intention there. In other words, when a kid comes to
No,
you and
I
says,
see what you're
here's
saying.
a banjo, this is my song, he's doing everything, the chords are wrong, we still look at it as a song because we know that that's his intention.
Yeah.
We'll say it's a but when you
Yeah.
hear like crash or something like that, the intention of
Everybody's
the
like, "Ooh,
noise,
music."
yeah, that's not, there's no intention there. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just, so, okay. So then I say to myself, okay, so then music is an objective thing. It is arranging noise in such a way with purposefulness to evoke a certain kind of emotion. Okay, then are you going to say that everybody's equally good at that? You say, of course not. One guy is better at guitar than another guy. Like Head is a much better guitarist than me, right? Why? Well, because he's able to arrange the notes in a more clean fashion than I'm able to. So that tells me then that music is objective. If you say that somebody's a better guitarist than somebody else, and you're saying that music is objective at some level, but there's still a subjective aspect to it based on how I react. So if I say, okay, Yngwie Malmsteen is a better guitarist than Brian is, but Brian is a better songwriter than Yngwie is, right? So when I'm looking at this band, I think to myself, what's the weakness of the band? 90% of bands we listen to, the bass can be there or not be there. Like Metallica proved that. Could this band continue without their bassist? I don't think so. Is this song going to be the same without the bassist? No. The keyboardist. A lot of these, I call them like, vestigial members of these bands. I'm not going to mention any because I don't want to be mean. Plus, we'll probably be interviewing one of them pretty soon here. But like some bands, in my opinion, have just vestigial members where it's like, yo, you could be completely disappear and I would never know the difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and to me, the keyboardist, the DJ for a lot of these bands, like, is just purely vestigial. Like, the song would be completely fine without, I'm not going to name bands, but we can talk about it after. But this band, every member is, in my opinion, necessary. Especially on this song, like such an epic song like this is pretty ambitious. Did it feel like a 20-minute song to you?
No, it didn't.
It didn't feel like
No.
a 20-minute song to me. But that's because these guys, I don't know, I feel like it's not only that they're like at the top of their game, because honestly, now that I listen to music and we've been around musicians, like professional musicians, legendary musicians, now I'm like, you don't necessarily have to be at the top of your game. But what you do have to do is come up with something creative. You have to come up with something that doesn't sound like everybody. You don't have to be a virtuoso guitarist. Like, that's one of the things, that's the other, like, didn't you feel that way? Like, going to the shows, you're like, oh, especially when you're that close to people.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I had to pull you back when they were doing a guitar exchange. You almost ran into the Evanescence guitarist. You know what I'm saying? So,
I know.
but, like, when you run into that, you're like, yo, that guy, like...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like you just have to find a way to be creative about it. Like, none of the progressions in any of those songs from Evanescence were groundbreaking, but what Amy Lee did when she came out, nobody had done that before.
Right.
There had been a lot of copycat bands after that, but the way that she did her like brand, her sound, nobody had done that before.
Yep.
And that's the difference. So like, I'd say Amy's the highest talent in that band. Probably, like, I'm trying to be, like, it's demonstrated by the fact that nobody in the original band is in the band now except for her.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but I'm looking at this band and I'm like, yo, was everybody and Amy Lee at their position? That keyboardist or whatever, like, that dude was doing stuff that I haven't heard anybody do, and he was doing this shit in the early 70s.
Yeah, yeah.
And he could jump right now into any of these prog bands and just completely wreck shop. You know what I'm saying? So like the bassist is a badass, the guitarist is a badass, the drummer's crazy. Like, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of like really creative people, not like virtuosos. I don't know what makes a virtuoso bassist. You know what I'm saying? Like, but all of them are like peak level creative, and this song displayed all of that, because like I'm looking at this band, I'm like, yo, I don't see any, as Amy said, there was no wasted space in that song, and there was no weakness in that song. Like, there's not one part of the band where, like, they were, yo, this guy's, like, the weak part of the band, and they're, like, basic. Like, everybody was top-level creative, and that, like, to me, was the difference between... For me, like, a lot of progressive bands try to be like that. But I don't think that everybody in the band is as creative as everybody else.
Right.
But it's kind of like, you just had a 4-minute guitar solo, so I should get this 2-minute. And how could you say no? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, yo, you're not that creative, bro. Like, if I was in the band, I'd say, yeah, just give me this chord. I'll keep playing it while you guys just do stuff. And that's okay. That's cool. Like, you can't, you know what I'm saying? But this band, to me, like, I don't know. These guys, to me, look like everybody is, like, on point and really good. And that's why they're so good. And I think this is actually one of my main issues with progressive music, is everybody wants to be that creative and wants to be that whatever and wants to have their little spotlight or whatever. I was listening to this band. They had some ridiculous, like, 2.5-minute drum solo. I was just like, oh, my God. One of my friends was saying, yo, this is a great band, blah, 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 blah. And I was listening to, out of nowhere, they had this random 2.5-minute drum solo. And I'm like,
And you didn't. Okay,
it's
you were
just
out.
dumb. Like, it had didn't fit with the song, whatever. And then he hits me up later. He's like, yo, how'd you feel? How'd you feel about it? I was like, you know, I haven't responded to him yet. I'm figuring he's going to see this video. He's going to know I didn't like it. So. But this band, everybody is like,
I
up
saw
there.
like a couple people talking about like Pink Floyd and stuff. I don't feel that they're similar. I guess in some ways they're similar, but they're extremely different in other senses of it. Like Pink Floyd to me makes me feel like I'm on like some trip and I'm flipping out somewhere. But like this was different. One thing that I noticed about their music is that like there was one part that they had, I don't know if anybody's ever looked into like sound therapy. Have you ever looked into sound therapy?
No.
So it's certain instruments that they play, and they play it in certain ways that when you hear it, like it feels like you've probably seen it.
Yeah.
Well, they did that in the song at one of the spots, and I was like, oh wow. And then there was like another part where there was dripping water. Did you hear that? And I love the idea of mixing music with nature.
Yeah.
And there's so many times where like we're practicing and we're like in our room, and I mean it's not like we have a portable, we couldn't just take the stuff into the woods, but like I always think to myself, oh, this would be so great if we could be like in the woods while we're doing metal. Like I don't know. So hearing them putting those together, like this type of music, the instruments specifically with the sound of nature, I really like that. Loved it with the sound therapy in the middle. And then remember the part in the song where it said, I get up, I get down?
Yeah.
Well, when they did
that all through the song.
Yeah, when it got to the part where it said I get down, like you would, I guess, think that they would go down vocally with it, but instead they went up.
Yeah, you caught that.
So your head was like, "Wow, okay, yes." You know, I don't know. So that was kind of interesting. And when the Seasons of Man started, I was like, "Here we go." Because,
yeah, so the song is broken down into all these different movements. So Season of Man is like the second to last part.
Yeah, I'd have to re-pull it up, but it was toward the end. But like when it started, I was like, really? Because like every transition that they did, I liked, and then when that one started, I was like, nope, there it goes, it ruined it. But then it didn't take long before all of a sudden I was in on that one too. So I liked all the transitions that happened in this particular song, which was shocking to me because I mean it was a 20-minute song. There was like, I think Amy said it right, like there wasn't any wasted space, and there wasn't anything that made me feel like, okay, this is taking forever, and it was 20 minutes. So I think that they did a really good job on this one.
Yeah, Kel said something like that is my value right here. Wakeman is definitely a virtuoso, so I don't know how you classify the rest. Hal is definitely up there, but the important thing is all these guys are incredible songwriters. That's the thing. Like, I don't think Yngwie Malmsteen is a very good songwriter. I think he can fit like 1,000 notes into 4 seconds and whatever and all that, and everything is clean, no mistakes, no other strings vibrating and all that. That's something that I watch for.
Yeah.
When I was at the show,
bet.
I was like, oh, everybody's fucking up. What's going on? But then the other side of myself was like, that doesn't mean anything. You better make sure that that's not, whatever. I did pretty good today, but
When I saw you were looking like really tight.
yeah, that little
Exercise thing.
that little exercise thing, I recommend that to everybody. Holy shit, that does numbers for your stuff. Yeah, man, like, it's just really good songwriting. Lyrically, this guy's a boss. I mean, I took the cursor thingamajiggy to be really, ultimately, this is about, like, the cycle of life. Because at the end, he was, at the beginning, he was talking about dying and what it would be, and he's talking about close to the edge and being by the river and all this, and that's why I like the video so much, because the video, like, it was just this journey. I don't know if you guys have seen that documentary Samsara, but it's all scenes and there's no commentary, but you kind of put it all together. It's very, very beautiful documentary or whatever that thing is. But the visuals of the video, like, really, in my opinion, went with the music. When it was talking about the man who stretched his hands out to the world, obviously it's talking about Christ, but that statue of Christ that's in Brazil, I forgot the name of that statue.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, the video went really, really well with the lyrics. Like if I was in the band, I would like make that an official video. I'd just put that on, like, because they did a really, really good job. And, it's like you see these wonderful scenes of nature, and then you, like, get to the mid part and you see all these horrible act, the cop beating the hell out of the woman, the soldiers shooting at each other, killing, all the shit that's happening on this little planet. And all of us have such little time here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the kids asleep and there's a baby in there. And I'm like, yo, we're going to turn around. They're going to be just as old as Dorian and Johan. It's like, shit is crazy to me. Like, how quickly everything just flies by. So, like, yeah, Christ the Redeemer is the name of the statue. But, like, how quick this life on Earth is, which, if you look at it from that perspective, everything kind of becomes trivial, because it's like, we're gone so quickly. But at the same time, when you drill down to it and you see ships, like, I was looking at the budget, I was looking at the DOD budget, when they're asking for $773 billion or some shit like that, and then they listed down this destroyer, that destroyer, blah blah blah. Nuclear deterrence, which basically means we're, basically, we went from mutual assured destruction to deterrence, because what that means is we are so superior and we have defense systems that are so superior. There's no longer any mutual assured destruction. It's just we are deterring you from using it because we can fuck you up and you can't respond. Like, that's the doctrine. But that shit used to not be. But now it's open source on the .gov website, and it's like, yo, bro, somebody's sitting down. Like, we spent, I think the ticket is like $139 billion this year in the proposed budget just for our research and development. Just research and development. So we're investing $139 billion just for people to sit down and say, how can we make this chemical agent more lethal? How can we do X, Y, Z? And it's just like, yo, we are, right now, there's people thinking about ways to more efficiently kill me. You know what I'm saying? And we're thinking about ways to kill me in another country. Like, this shit is. So, like, when you really drill down to it, it's like, yo, this shit is crazy. When you pull back, it's like, yo, you're only here for a couple seconds, bro. Like, then we're on to the next, whatever. But you cannot trivialize the few seconds that we have here, because it gives explanatory power to the condition that you're going to be in when you transition into actual reality. You're going to know why you're in the condition you're in when you transition to that next stage.
Right.
because
Right.
of what you did with the 2 or 3 seconds. And people are like, "Yo, how could you be in an eternity of misery for only 2 or 3 seconds of living?" And it's like, that's to me, it's a wrong way of looking at it. If you were horrible, if you were that horrible, if we are that horrible, then it's a merciful thing that we're only here for a couple seconds. Because if you think about the human family, the reason that we have nuclear technology is because we've built off the backs of previous generations.
Yeah.
So imagine if you had Pythagoras with Einstein and nuclear technology and the type of havoc that those people could bring to bear, because we used
Right.
Pythagorean theorems as well as Einsteinian theorems to
that's
we
crazy.
weaponized that wisdom.
That's crazy.
So
yeah.
imagine if all those people were able to live, even if they had good intentions, people who are evil are willing to do more, so like, the song kind of contrasted all the contradictions and paradoxes of what it means to be a human being,
Yeah.
what meaning is, why meaning is important, all those things coming together, and finding some way to reconcile the brevity of life with the value of life. What I think a lot of people have a big problem with. A lot of people who value life are very this world oriented. They don't really have an eternal perspective. A lot of people with an eternal perspective are absolutely useless in this world, like right now, because they're, in our experience, they're just sitting home and waiting for the rapture to happen, while there's all this injustice around them. And so we need the atheists and the leftists to come help us, because we're on the sidelines while people are dying because they don't have health care. And those nasty pagan atheists, whatever, who have no concept of the spiritual world, are actually going out and doing shit in this fucking world. At the same time, it's those same people who are also killing babies by the bunches. So,
Yeah.
harmonizing all of these paradoxes, I think is probably the goal. Because I think individually, we talk about integration, integrating your shadow, integrating all these different consciousnesses within yourself so you can have that unity. But that's at the granular singular level. But I think on the broad level, humanity wise, reconciling all those paradoxes and integrating those contradictions are also probably the goal of the human family, if we can get there.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's what the song was about. It was just about this sort of meta, sort of 10,000 foot sort of, this is the human experience. And it's fascinating because it didn't tell you any solutions. It just says, this is all that's happening. There's this big arc, especially in the middle, where you have that really beautiful sort of synthy sound.
Yeah.
And so it's almost at the midpoint of the song, which is sort of, to me, about...
I think Nick said it was heavenly.
Yeah, because that middle is sort of that itself is the answer. If you can find the middle ground, that's where you're going to find the beauty. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's not the eternal world. It's not here and now. How about you do both of those, and stay right in the center of? I think center is probably. You stay in the center of that, and that's where you'll find the beauty. Anything outside of that's going to be chaos and whatever, and it'll still be good. But the real beauty is when you can find all of that balance between everything, and if you could do that, I think that's where there's a ton of
Utility?
yeah, there's a ton of utility and beauty in that. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of real. If we can figure out a way to get there, we'd hear a lot of beauty for sure. Or as Dougie's saying, it's not all binary. Right. Yeah. I really enjoyed this song a lot. This is a 10 for me.
I'm gonna give this one a 10 as well. Yeah, it's a 10.
Yeah, it's a very, very beautiful song. It's a very beautiful song.
And it's weird because it felt shorter than some of the other ones.
Tonight? Yeah.
Most of the songs were about 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
This one was 20 minutes, and it felt shorter than some of the other 10-minute ones.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Anyway.
This apparently is like a prog classic. Like this is like an
okay.
all-time like prog song, and I definitely see it. I just don't recognize this kind of prog in the modern.
Yeah.
I don't know, prog movement, prog genre, whatever. Like I haven't heard anything like this. I mean, we were talking about triple harmonies. That's the other thing I wanted to say is like there's this band, Receiving End of Sirens. They do triple harmonies very well. And I'm like, yo, damn, where did they get that? And I'm like, oh. It was yes. Like if you listen to Receiving End of Sirens and then you listen to this song, you will figure out very quickly, oh, that's where they got that from. And they did it really well. The Receiving End of Sirens does that really, really well. If you had another singer like that in the band where we could do a lot of those harmonies, we try to like play with that too. I want to play with everything, but we don't. We just have you plus. But that's a lot. And knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe! All right. Well, dear listener, it's been a journey. Glad to see you all here. Stay safe and all that jazz. Big shout outs to the big homie DJ Nick, as always.
Shout out to Nick.
Bring in the hot fire, DJ Nick. Bring in the hot fire. So shout out to the big homie DJ Nick. Shout out to Sadie, Little Daniel, Middle Earth, Scott, all these beautiful people. Much love to all you beautiful people. I am out of here. Shout out to Amy Lee, your miserable self. Vin out.